roads in Canby are county-owned, and they don't want to repair them. You know, Pine Street, Ivy Street, and so on. So this does give us a vehicle to try and bring those up to city standards.
Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 3.2 miles of county roads within city limits?
I meant to bring that map. My
That's okay.
apologies. Yeah, 3.25 if I remember right.
Okay. Here's my deal, my issue, or plural, issues, and I've shared it with the council. I did not go and speak to the Board of County Commissioners because my understanding was that at their meeting that they were going to clean up the language, and they did. However, they did not take out the support through resolution or receive nothing piece. And so I've been on the phone much of the last 2 weeks with a myriad of mayors across the county, and there's actually a couple that are not going to approve this, and they're going to recommend that they're scissoring not vote in favor of it. The reason being is they don't like the hostage language that's in the they see it as being held hostage, and in terms of do this or get nothing kind of a piece to it. And I've been on the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee now for 6 years, 7 years, and I would say 4 of those years have been talking about transportation and how cruddy roads are and what we're doing or not doing, and had a plan put together, and then the Board of County Commissioners basically took our plan and threw it out and said we're going to do our own, and this is their own. So it's been a bit of gnashing of teeth. And my other big piece is this, that I've gone and I've talked with Chair Ludlow and I've talked with Commissioner Savas about this, is that none of the projects are roads within our city limits, and that has been a big piece for me, is that they're not. And some of the roads that the project list is all roads outside of Clackamas, or out of Canby, so unincorporated Clackamas County. In some of those roads, they definitely do need help. My suggestion to the Board of County Commissioners was include the city streets within each city on that list around them. So if the pavement condition index that they use to measure breakdown of pavement, if we've got a city street that falls within the work on list, the project list, then it should be done. Well, that did not happen and did not fall on, or it fell on deaf ears on that one. So it's all about the roads around Canby, around Happy Valley, around Oregon City. And so this is what's on the table for us to, show our support that, yes, we're supporting the Board of County Commissioners to go out and ask the voters if they can add 6 cents per gallon to their fuel tax to improve the roads in unincorporated Clackamas County. And we get a portion of that back in that we can then, how much?
282 over 1,000.
Okay. And how much did we spend this past year on the paving project that's going on right now?
About $670,000.
So almost $700,000 a year that I've been on the council. There's been as much as $1 million, and we pave quite a bit back, maybe not this year, but in years past. So roughly $300,000 doesn't get us very much.
Not too much.
Okay. So I will leave it at that. I'm not real pleased with the language here, but that is what is before us. If we want to show our support, I will begrudgingly sign it and deliver it to Paul Savas, or Commissioner Savas, tomorrow when I see him, and go from there. So that's I will get off my soapbox now.
I'll comment on the language. I think, though, their idea is they want to make sure that it's kind of like a soft endorsement, though, of the city's right to say,
Sure.
Hey, we want this to pass, and our citizens will see us taking the lead on this.
Sure.
And then vote for it, of course. So that
Absolutely.
makes sense. They're saying, are you in? We're saying yes, because we got to be in to receive. I see the point.
Sure.
And
Well, and that was my conversation with Commissioner Savas, was because originally the gas tax, the county was going to just take it all. And we, the city, said, hold on a second, no.
Yeah.
So you want our support, we want some of the, we want a piece of the action.
Right.
Well, they said, well, you want a piece of the action, then you need to step up and support it. So
Okay.
we zigged, they zagged, and that's to where we're at, kind of.
Okay.
So we're being, we're asking to put, money where our mouth is. And
Yeah.
that's what they're asking. So, yes, it is a soft endorsement that I'm sure will go out and say, Canby City Council supports, and Gladstone supports,
Right.
and Milwaukee supports,
Right.
and, so I'm sure that will be a leverage tool to show.
Sure.
What's
So,
the chances of any of this language being changed between now and then?
I know after conversation with Mayor Holliday, there was a group of mayors that were trying to get the language changed, but there's probably not a very good chance it's going to change. Not in enough time for them to meet the September 1st deadline that we're on. And so if the Board of County Commissioners hold to that date, then there's a good chance there's a couple of cities that I think they're going to get around the resolution by doing a proclamation instead of a resolution, and so...
That's just rebellious, though. I mean, I see their point.
No, I do too.
It's interesting.
And so, we've been asked to, not go this route, but I'm in one of those. It's work that needs to be done. They pulled it. They did polling, and it was like 51% favorable for, a 6-cent gas tax. 51% is with a margin of error of 3%. 3 to 4% now tells me that probably not going to, it may not pass. And that this could be a moot point, and then they're back to the drawing board to do something else.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Let's not waste any more time on this. I move the council will approve resolution number 1247, a resolution supporting the Clackamas County motor vehicle fuel tax.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Parker and seconded by Councilor Height to approve Resolution 1247, supporting the Clackamas County motor vehicle fuel tax. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 5-0.
The
Thank
next
you.
item we have is Resolution 1248. This is adopting a supplemental budget for the 2016-2017 fiscal year.
Thank you, Kim. And we just heard our presentation on that piece. Any other questions or thoughts?
No, sir.
No? Motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move for Resolution 1248, adopting a supplemental budget for the 2016-17 fiscal year.
Second. Motion has been made by Council President Dale and seconded by Councilor Coleman to approve Resolution 1248, adopting a supplemental budget for the 2016-2017 fiscal year. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 5-0.
The next item we have is Resolution 1249. This is authorizing the mayor to sign an intergovernmental agreement with Clackamas County and participating cities of Clackamas County to share motor vehicle fuel tax revenues.
We've had our conversation on that. Motion, please. Or not?
Mr. Mayor, I move for Resolution 1249, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an intergovernmental agreement between Clackamas County and participating cities of Clackamas County to share motor vehicle fuel tax revenues.
Second.
Again, motion's been made by Council President Dale and seconded by Councilor Height to approve Resolution 1249, authorizing the mayor to sign an IGA with Clackamas County and participating cities of Clackamas County to share motor vehicle fuel tax revenues. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 5-0.
The next item we have is Ordinance 1447. This is amending Canby Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04.190 regarding business license exemptions in the city of Canby.
Great, and this was a conversation that came about through one of our citizens and having some question about our business licensing piece, and I know we've got a few people that want to make a comment about it, so what I'd ask is that Rick, if we'll go through this, if there's any questions and dialogue that we need to have, then I will go through the yellow cards and give everyone that wants to still speak that opportunity. Does that work? Okay. So Rick, it is yours.
Okay, well, thank you. This has been an interesting task over the last week.
We try not to be too dull, and we want to make sure we challenge you, Rick.
Yeah, it's been interesting and good. But we spent a lot of time on an ordinance that I thought initially was pretty straightforward, but had so many nuances associated with it and unexpected and unintended consequences that I think we're in a good place now. What I'd like to do is speak real briefly to the intent of the proposed changes, and then go through, and there's one section of the city code that is affected by this, and I'd like to go through and identify what the proposed changes are, because they've even changed a little bit today after we've continued to work with it. First of all, we have had some ongoing discussion about the impact of the business license on local businesses, and more particularly, and in this instant case, on what we characterize as hobby crafters, people that are not operating full-time business, not typically in competition with our brick and mortar retailers in the community, and trying to identify a way that we could support the hobby crafter type of businesses, and at the same time not penalize our brick and mortar retailers in town who have to pay for their space and pay a business license and still face the same challenge of finding a way to make a profit at the end of the day. And I think that what we've been able to develop actually accomplishes that, and I'd like to step through it real quickly with you. And the changes are in the exemptions to the business license itself. As I'll outline a new A through J, an existing garage sales as described in the chapter remains unchanged. So the exemptions relating to garage sales as otherwise described stay the same. Participants of all official city-sponsored or sanctioned events and the Canby Farmers Market. What we had before was participants of all official city-sponsored or sanctioned events as a B, and then we had a C, which was General Canby Day and Canby Saturday Market, which was the farmers market, but because General Canby Day is now Canby Independence Day, and now a city-sponsored event, it no longer needs to be listed. And thank you, Catherine, for bringing that to my attention today. So we removed Canby Independence Day as a listed activity and modified the paragraph B to just say all official city-sponsored or sanctioned events and the Canby Farmers Market are exempted. Paragraph C, General Canby Day and Canby Saturday Market are struck from the language. D does not change, and that is any person engaged as a landlord, and the balance of that remains the same. Municipal, state, and federal agencies are exempted, and that does include those events occurring at the county fairgrounds in town. All nonprofit organizations are exempt from the business license fee, but are still required to complete an application. This is the same. We just cleaned up the language to make it a little more readable. A new section G, which exempts businesses that are participating in an event sponsored by a nonprofit organization. And we were trying to find a way to appropriately address activities, and I'll speak to it again in J in a little more detail, but we have circumstances in which nonprofits that are not in the downtown core, which is how we're proposing to limit the exemption, that are not operating in the downtown core, do have events that are fundraisers during the year, and we want to make sure that if they're a nonprofit and they're doing an activity, that those hobby crafters and part-time vendors that participate in that activity are exempted from the business license requirement. The best and most instant example of that is the 3-day event that the Catholic Church puts on each year. St. Pat's does. The H and I didn't change, and that is any person who engages in a business that's illegal can't have a business license, and any business that is exempt from a license by virtue of state or federal law. The change that we made that is the most significant, other than those that I've identified, is the Section J, which is any business who is in operation for 3 or fewer consecutive days at the same location and operates less than a total of 30 days per calendar year within the C1 downtown commercial zone of Canby. However, the exemption does not apply to contractors, landscapers, or any business engaged in a contract with the City of Canby or Canby Urban Renewal Agency. This is new language, and the intent here is if it's a person engaging in a business and they're contracting with us and they're in our downtown business core, then we expect them to have a business license. If they fit in the hobby crafter definition or part-time vendor definition, then we want to create a waiver for them for up to 30 days per calendar year. We feel that if they are engaged in an activity for more than 3 consecutive days, then they're really starting to operate a business, and it's becoming more relevant in their overall business plan. And then last, and as important as any other aspect of it, is we don't want to create an element of unfair competition where our part-time vendors have it better than our full-time businesses in our downtown core. And that summarizes the changes that are proposed. It is staff recommendation that absent an argument in opposition from the public, that we adopt this. If it gets too complicated, then I will ultimately suggest that we just move it to another date and I take more time to look at it.
All right. Thank you, Rick, for that. Again, I want to thank Catherine Christensen for elevating this to Councilor Parker and I as a conversation piece, because she's been spearheading efforts to get exposure to a number of our home-based businesses and crafters, and it came about to try to do something at Slice of Summer, which then created a question of like, okay, well, who gets a business license, who doesn't, whatnot, and had some conversation, and so here we are with verbiage and whatnot that I think seems to tighten this up and clarify, I think, which will, I'm seeing nods yes by some of our home-based business and crafters that are here. So questions, comments, anything that
I'd like to make one additional comment, and I regret that this isn't how I started this discussion, and that is to express my appreciation to both Kim and Aaron for looking at this and poking holes in the original drafts and identifying things that weren't going to work, and giving us, in fact, what I think is a much better set of rules that will help guide us through kind of a complex issue.
And so just as a clarifier, so part of the exemptions, because I think this came up in conversation today, so if somebody is participating in the farmer's market, which is like 26 weeks of doing a farmer's market, that does not count to their 30 days.
It does not.
On top of
the 30.
Okay, and so going with letter G, so businesses that are participating in events sponsored by a nonprofit organization, so for example, Slice of Summer, which is put on by Canby Music Boosters, which is a nonprofit, that does not go against their 30-day
Yeah, if it is sponsored by a nonprofit, then that would be the case.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions before I go to the yellow cards?
I think I wanted to commend our city staff, too. It's clean, it's concise. I think you walk the fine line well between the brick and mortar stores and the part-time crafters. So, yeah, well done, I think. Yeah.
But the part I liked about it, Mayor, was the turnaround on this. We did have a time-sensitive issue coming up later this month, and I brought this to you. You took it to Rick, and even at a time when city staff is slammed, we were able to turn this around in pretty quick time. So that's the way it's supposed to work. But this is a very busy time for the city. We're trying to bring a a new building online. We're trying to sell 4 properties, and we're trying to do all this without a finance director. So we've got to make sure that we don't have the lights dim with all of our ideas. But I saw this as being something that needed to be addressed this week. So thank
agree.
you, and thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Kim. Okay, I will go through my lovely stack of yellow cards. First up, Catherine Christensen, you are first on my list.
Brian, thank you so much for taking this matter to hand right away. And Councilman Parker, thank you for putting up with my incessant Facebook messages. So, and Mr. Administrator, I don't remember your name. But thank you for working on this. And on behalf of the Canby Handcrafters, my little group, there's a whole lot more. They just didn't make it, but
okay.
I've been working real hard to establish this group so we can participate in the community. And like I've shared with some of you, for some of us, we kind of ride the cusp. Maybe it might be time for us to step up and get our business license. For others, I know it would just totally take them out of the whole scenario. They would be done. They couldn't do anything. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. It's a very emotional subject for me, and also for my folks over here and the rest of them, and thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Well, Catherine, I thank you for trying to think outside of the box and still try to promote business. That's what we talked on the phone. I think this council has been in a position where we've always wanted to be very pro-business, and we don't know. One of these might end up turning into a restaurant or turning into a brick and mortar business, or we look at, when I use the examples of Pioneer Pump, started in a garage, and so did Hawksoft, and now one's an international business and on TV, and Hawksoft is busting at the seams already out of their building. So, those things can happen, and we want to be able to help those things happen in our community. So,
And we also have a coffee vendor who is Garage Coffee.
There you go.
They are starting in their garage,
There you
and
go.
Claire Ann and I work in our kitchen, and Lisa's mom works in their house making things, and so we're all doing the best we can. And so just thank you very much.
Well, thank you,
I
Catherine.
appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bonnie Payne? No, you're good? Okay. Lisa?
Hi.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Good to see you.
I'm not good at public speaking, but we'll see.
That's okay, I'm not
Actually, it clarified a lot to me because I didn't think the Saturday market would be included. So, and that's 4 events a month. So that would have included me out because we make maybe $100 a month selling what we sell. My mom's retired. I have no income. So this is just small stuff for my mom to do that I sell. So, but it's my understanding it's 30 events per year
Yep.
that are not city sanctioned or nonprofit.
Right.
Okay, so
And they
both
don't-
city sanctioned and nonprofit's what I do. So
There you go.
I'm pretty good.
Good.
So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate
You
it.
won't be limited by one exemption if you have to rely on another, so,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
you got that part.
Yeah.
So if you go to every Saturday market, you can still do 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you,
Coming down, Lisa.
Amy Kelsey Green. You're good? Okay. James Mack?
Oh, you could read my handwriting.
You haven't seen mine, so why don't you come up here and...
Yeah,
Let's hear about it.
well, it's really not that much to say. I'm just noticing Canby. Never noticed communities that much. Just drive through them, handle your business, and leave. But sitting here in this town, I noticed that it's a close-knit community. And the people here seem to enjoy any events that come there, because we've done 2. And the show out of people was just overwhelming. And how everybody embraced each other. it's just the kind of community that you dream that you could live in, and the only time you see something like that is on television. For me, I've grown up in the city of Flint, Michigan. I don't know if you've heard of that place.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Been in the news a little bit, huh?
yeah. So it was really challenging to put my feelings aside. You know, like how come I couldn't have grown up in a community like this? And I really enjoy working with the community here because, I mean, everybody accepted us very well. Everybody was kind, and I just wanted to, thank you everybody that had anything to do with how this community is run. I mean, this is one of the best places I've ever been in my life.
That's powerful.
I never seen anything like that before, so this is all new to me. And it's like if I'm coming in, like yeah, it's work, but then you have to stop and look at the people and how everything is. It's like wow, unbelievable. So that's all I want to say. I didn't have any input on the licenses at all. I just was hoping that it would all work in our favor. But I just want you guys to know that I never ever seen anything like that before in my life, and it just blew me away.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I have to give a shout out to when next event. Are you at the next Slice of Summer?
Yes.
Okay, you guys need to get a hot coney dog from this man. They are mayor approved.
They are truly awesome
Yeah.
folks to work with. I've worked with them
Thanks,
several
James.
times.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate the
See you
input.
Sunday night.
It's great. I will take a motion, please, on our ordinance here.
Greg.
I don't have my glasses on.
Mr. Mayor, I move for ordinance 1447, amending Canby Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04.190 regarding business license exemptions in the city of Canby.
And I'll second that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Motion's been made by Councilor Rocha and seconded by Councilor Parker to approve ordinance 1447, amending Canby Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04.190 regarding business license exemptions in the city of Canby. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That carries 5-0. I want to make one correction to our earlier conversation about the motor vehicle tax. I was back reading through that, and it's estimated that Canby will get $281,000 per year. It's $2 million over the 7 years.
Good.
So that is a little different.
It's
Yeah.
almost a doubling of our current 3 cents.
So
Nice.
that
True.
that's the numbers that they're projecting. So if gas prices stay low and we get a few more events at the event center with larger RVs, maybe we can up that a little bit. So I want to let that correction get out there.
Transient room tax would give us some additional funds.
I couldn't have opened that door any
That's
wider.
if we had a transient room to...
If we had a hotel. They do have a motel, let's be fair.
Coaches.
Oh, boy. Kim, any other pieces on this at all? We're good. All right, I'm going to move into the new business, and that is, Jamie, we have a Heritage Trail unveiling.
Yes.
As you Thank you, Jamie, for hanging in there.
Oh, you get me next meeting, too.
Oh, fantastic.
2 different points.
Hot dog.
Yeah.
Thank Lauren back in the
Exciting.
corner for hanging out.
Yeah, let's thank Lauren for hanging out.
All these people.
So,
Wow.
as you guys have heard us talk about for years now, the plan for a heritage trail with the city's Historic Review Board has been underway. And it started with an idea of could we get plaques and put plaques on some of our more historic buildings to start to tell the story. And finally, this year, we were able to get 2 different grants, one from the State Historic Preservation Office and one from Mount Hood Territories that's administered through the Canby Area Chamber of Commerce. That's allowed us to put a dazzling finishing touch on plaques and brochure that you are getting a fresh first
Amazing
look at.
brochure.
So what we want to do is we want to unveil this, and what better night than First Friday. So First Friday, 6 p.m., August 5th,
in Waite Park, we'll be unveiling the plaques. All of the plaques will be there. They won't be on the buildings yet, but we're going to signify where the buildings are by putting balloons throughout the town so that you can walk from one to another. And we've really tried to make sure that not only the buildings are kind of spread apart so you can enjoy our beautiful downtown, but that they're also from different eras. So one of the things that you'll see that the building that the Wells Fargo is in is actually included, and somebody might say, well, that's not historic. It certainly is. It's more than 50 years old, and it just helps to tell our story. We've had a lot of support from volunteers and contractors, and we had an incredible artist put this together and do our plaques for us. It's a project that I think, to speak for the Historic Review Board, they're very excited about. I know that as a staff person and working and dreaming about what could be, we didn't realize it could be as good as what it has been. So I hope that you would join us on Friday, August 5th, 6 p.m. Everyone is invited. The mayor will be speaking, so I know everybody's going to want to see that. And we're going to have a lot of fun. The first Friday, vendors will be out, businesses will be open. It should be really nice.
I don't know if, I know Gordon's in the control booth there. This is a beautiful
It is a beautiful brochure.
brochure.
One of the
This is
best
fantastic.
the city's ever done.
Yeah, this is great.
The
This is a great
designer's
start.
local. She went to Canby High, grew up in Canby. She lives in Aurora now. Her name is Gina Hutchinson, and
Okay.
we put out a bid, and she was the one that got that bid. So we're really excited. We've worked with her, not just here, but also with the Canby Independence Day logo, and then she's helped us out as a goodwill gesture on our Canby's Big Night Out logo. So everything has a fresh look, and she does an incredible job, and it was really great to work with somebody local. So.
Mr. Mayor, a couple years ago, our Main Street manager and I attended a state conference in Corvallis, and we were walking down the street, and literally we stopped every half block to look at these plaques. And it is something you cannot walk by. You stop and take a look at it. And the research on this indicates that it has a big impact, that people start thinking about their history, and it changes the way they look at a sense of place, which is where we want to get to, is that we want people to remember this as a place that has its history. So this may seem like a small step, but it's going to have a huge outcome, and thank you for doing this.
And we have Carol Palmer here, who's the chair of the Historic Review Board. She is our fearless leader and has really made sure that we got something together that we're very proud of. And she also noted, we're looking forward at this point in Canby. We're looking at a new civic center, a new library, and it's also kind of fun to look back and remember those histories of when the library used to be in this room or when the city hall was built. And so I think that this helps to tell our story, and I believe it will be the first of many, and we're very excited about it.
The couple of things. Again, this is fantastic. I think the capturing here of our city's history, as we had conversation today about what is Canby going to look like, how can we, where's our crystal balls and what's it going to look like in 20 years? This is pretty fantastic to capture, and we've got things on here. So Waite Park, Baker Prairie Cemetery, which seem to be kind of givens, I think, in Canby, but our City Hall, Canby Bank and Trust Building, which is right there on the corner, and you've got the William Knight Building and Independent Order of Oddfellows Lodge, which that now houses the backstop and Antonio's Ballroom. So there's a ton of history. So what's next?
Well, we were just awarded a grant for the Baker Prairie Cemetery rehabilitation. So that project we're getting bids right now, which that closes on August 12th. And so what we'll do is that some of those headstones will be cleaned, some that are broken will be fixed, and then there's also training for volunteers for the future, so that if we can only get to a certain amount, we can continue that on without having to get another grant or find more money. The Certified Local Government Grant is an 18-month grant. This is the second one we've been awarded. And then at the Urban Renewal meeting, I'll talk a little bit more in my report for Canby Main Street, but this year we had 8 intensive level surveys, a reconnaissance level survey completed in South Ivy, this project, training for our board members, public outreach. So we are just starting to work on the steps, what our next steps look like. The grant usually closes in February. So in February of 2017, we'll apply for another grant, hopefully, and be able to do some more really cool projects. And the thing that I think that is the most incredible is that we've started these projects and everything's in the works. And at the one point, it looks very individual, an intensive level survey here, some information over there, but we were able to put a lot of that together to come together for one heritage trail. I think that that will continue to happen if we do another heritage trail. We've already got information on, now it will be, I think, 12 different sites in Canby. So that information doesn't go away. The contractors submit that to the State Historic Preservation Office. So some of these buildings might have lineage with our women who helped to build up Canby, and we might do a women's trail or agriculturally. So I think that they're all building blocks that help us to recognize the story that made us where we are today, and that will help to propel us even further into the future.
That's great, Jamie. Carol, did you want to say anything?
I'd
No?
like Carol to
Yes.
say something. Carol,
It's been a lot of
I
work.
wanted to add, we're going to do, after the Baker Prairie Cemetery rehab is completed, we will have another community event where we will want to rededicate the cemetery. We're talking about ways we can get the school kids involved. Thank you, Tony Crawford, for coming on our board and keeping us connected with the school. That's been a real plus for us, I think. And we're talking about different things we can do with Baker Prairie, because what we want to do is we want to build community awareness and support for the resources that we have here in the community, and build that pride in the community. So I think we've got a lot of good plans down the road. I think there's like 6 or 7 projects that we've got listed that we're exploring, thinking about where can we get the funding. I've gotten much better at learning about how to get grant money. So.
well, someday buy Carol a cup of coffee and ask her to give her her background. It is an impressive background, what she's done in terms of her education, her expertise, and cities that she's worked in. I still have your book that you and you know, it's a testament to one person latching on to something and not letting go. I mean, this is something that we've wanted to do for years, is to gin up our history in this town, and there was never a spark plug. And Carol, you're it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A place that values its history and heritage is really the place for me. Like, that's where I want to live. So this is like livability. This is what we want. So, yay. Good job.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah. Very. City Administrator, Business and Staff Reports.
Just very quickly, I need to report that the county is going to be paving county roads within the overall geographic area, but outside of the city limits. So they'll affect people coming into and going out of the city. We have two 3-day road closures that the county has planned. One August 15th through 17th. Barlow Road will be closed from Highway 99 to Knightsbridge Road, and then again a 3-day closure from August 22nd through 24th. Barlow Road again will be closed from Highway 99 to Lone Elder Road.
Figure a way around for sure.
Yeah, find another way. Each will be 3-day closures. They have 5 different areas that they will be working in, but the road work is planned to occur between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So if you're traveling in the morning, leave early. If you're traveling in the evening, leave late. And don't use Barlow Road between August 15th and 24th.
Done. Will not do that.
And I would just remind everyone one more time, October 15th for the ribbon cutting, the library.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Next opportunity for citizen input. Any? No? All right. Action review, Kim.
You have approved the consent agenda. You've adopted resolutions 1244, 1247, 1248, and 1249, and you've approved ordinance 1447 to come up for second reading on August 17th.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kim. Joe, is there an executive session tonight?
There is none.
Perfect. With that, I will tell you at home, hang on, we're going to switch over quickly to the Urban Renewal Agency meeting, which Council President Dale will chair, so stay tuned. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second, please.
Second.
All right. We have officially adjourned our City Council meeting. Thank you, Canby. Mr. Dale,
All
you're
right.
up.
We'll call to order the Canby Urban Renewal Agency special meeting of August 3rd, 2016.